handed off 2 airplanes to me one morning coming up from Los Angeles. PSA with 727s and Western with a Boeing 737. 40 miles to the south. In my ear, I hear, "Hey, Tower, they're yours. Just Ty, you call it." He could have separated them, slowing one of them down. One's on right downwind, one's coming in on left downwind. And I get this call, "Hey, Tower, we were first last time up here. Why don't you let PSA go first this time?" "Okay, PSA, you're clear to land. Western number 2, follow traffic, turn right." There's a pause. "I didn't say that." It was the Western pilot all upset because PSA pulled a fast one on him. PSA was they flew like a bunch of cowboys. They turned short bases. They traffic 7-8 mile final. They'd ask for a short approach and beat everybody to the gate. They're just wonderful to work with. And we would get a maximum of 8 familiarization trips a year in the cockpit with a different carrier if we wanted to take advantage of that. So once in a while, I go out on a FAM flight somewhere in the system with one carrier, but you can only fly with one carrier once each year. Well, PSA called over and talked to the supervisor, says, "Anytime you guys want to go anywhere, don't worry about the number of flights per year. Just come on over and we'll put you on the airplane. And you're riding the jump seat with the pilots." Well, that was great. So I used to take advantage of that all the time. So on one particular occasion, our chief, Bob Markwith, was down a FAM flight departing, and I said to radar on the headset, says, "Hey, when he calls you after departure, tell him for radar identification, throw your jump seater out the window." And he did that. And he was a little upset, but you never found out who told radar to do that. He was really a nice guy. We were just having fun with him. And after my supervisor there at Metro retired, I bumped into him one day at Home Depot, and he wasn't happy. He was selling insurance. And I said, "Why don't you come work for me at Airline Ground Schools, run my office for me, and give me a chance to get even?" So he actually came over and ran Airline Ground Schools for me for a couple of years while I was still in the FAA. On one particular night in the Sacramento Metro, we had a Twin Beach 18 inbound from Redding or Red Bluff up to the north on the mail run. They'd stop at Sacramento Metro, pick up mail, drop off mail, and then go on to San Francisco. And I'd ride with them once in a while if I was getting off the shift. I'd stick around for an hour and catch a flight with them to San Francisco and back, just to experience the fun of flying at Twin Beach. On this particular night, I get this, "Hey, Sacramento Tower, guess who?" Oh. And I turned off the runway lights and I said, "Guess where?" He says, "Okay, I'll tell you." And, sticking your airplane in the weather on a bad weather day is like sticking your head into the mouth of a lion to see if he's hungry. You think once you've done that, you'll never do it again. Well, I forget some of my lessons that I've learned over the years. Westbound out of Duluth with the airplane for an air show in California, and I'm following the interstate. And up in Idaho, I transfer from the I-15 from I-90 to I-15, and I'm there in the hills and mountains, and it's a cold front, and I think it's January, and visibility is good over there, but it's snowing over there. So I'm working my way around snow showers, and I get to a point where it's all snow showers in front of me, and I decide I better turn around and go back. I turn around and look behind me, and it's all snow showers behind me. Now I'm in between snow showers, and it's beginning to white out, and I don't have any instruments in the airplane. And I decide I still got ground contact. I got to put this on the ground now. And I land in an open field with that airplane, and I come to a stop. And I get out, and I hike through several inches of snow into a building over there. Turns out to be a cafe on an airport. I had no idea I was on an airport in a little country, little place up in the hills. Of all the luck, I land on the airport. And they said, "Why didn't you land on the runway?" Well, I said, "I can't see it. It's all covered in snow. I don't know where it is." So they had a truck, an hour later, the sun came out. They had a truck drive down the runway in the snow to outline the runway for me, and I took off and went on my way. But just unbelievable luck. So anyway, went from Edwards back up to Stockton Tower when the Patco strike happened. And I used to, when I was working Sacramento Executive, down below us at Union Flights, right next to the control tower, was Mr. Painter's operation when he had Cessna Citation jet, and Governor Reagan would frequently fly on his charter jet back and forth to Los Angeles. And on one occasion, the flight was delayed for a minor maintenance problem, so the governor came upstairs to visit the control tower. And I'm working local traffic, and the supervisors talked to him. He says, Danny's writing a book called The Great Communicators. He says, oh, really? So he starts chit-chatting with me while I'm trying to work traffic. And he says, you need a foreword for your book? I says, sure. So he actually wrote a foreword for one of my earlier books called The Great Communicators. It was kind of a thrill to do that. And he fired me a few years later. I'll tell you the truth, I liked him. I voted for him. For the Patco strike, he wrote a letter to Patco and said he supported the controllers for the number of things that we're negotiating for, and pay was one of the least important things because we were well paid back in the 70s. For compared to today, they're making $100,000 a year. Wow, we were making close to 23 to 30,000 a year, and I thought I was doing great as a single guy. So anyway, he wrote the foreword for the book. We got that taken care of. He had written a letter to Patco, the union, supporting him, but 4 or 5 weeks after we were going on strike, the union at the post office was threatening a strike, and he changed his position because he couldn't afford to have the post office go on strike. So he reneged on his promise to support us, and I was on vacation that week of the strike. I was up in Sacramento, a different area code, and there's no record that the facility in Stockton, California tried to call me to tell me to come back to work, but I didn't press my case because I had a job in the back pocket waiting for me if that didn't work out, flying a Cessna Citation up in Duluth, Minnesota for AMSOIL, Synthetic Lubricants Company. And we had a obnoxious supervisor over at San Jose International, Greg number 2, my roommate, transferred over to San Jose after a year, and he was working, it was a busy place over there, and the morning rush between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody's going out at the same time, going different places around the country, all the big boys. And they had an obnoxious supervisor that come upstairs before his shift started at 8 o'clock downstairs in admin and sit there and they didn't appreciate management sitting there while they were busy chit-chatting with them, and they didn't like the guy. So they conspired, the 3 controllers, ground control, local 1 and local 2, to do something about it. So on this particular morning, they took all their clothes off except for their headsets, totally naked, working traffic, and he comes up the stairs, took one look around, went back down, and never came up early again after that for his